Okay, so hopefully this is the last time we are in Elyria with little Miss Paige. Of course, this couldn't show up when I was doing the last video, so we could wrap it all together. So we'll do a little backstory for the people that haven't watched the other, I don't know, 2 or 3 videos on Paige. We're going to look at the lawsuit, and we're going to look at the conclusion of the lawsuit.
Police officer no longer allowed to testify in court, her credibility being called into question.
Now, this comes after 19 Investigates exposed how she mishandled an incident where she and 2 other officers barged into a man's home without a warrant.
Mike Mason broke this story. He has new information for us, all new at 6.
This officer has been with the Elyria Police Department for the past 10 years. She's also president of the police union. Now the prosecutor's office has placed her on the Brady List, stating she has a history of making false statements. In May of 2023, 3 Elyria police officers stormed the home of Raul Ortiz. Senior Officer Paige Mitchell tased, arrested, and charged Ortiz with 5 felonies. But those charges were later dismissed. And a year later, when 19 Investigates aired Mitchell's body cam footage, she was suspended for mishandling the situation. Now the Lorain County Prosecutor's Office has placed Mitchell on what's called the Brady List, which means she's banned from testifying in court because of credibility issues. 19 Investigates confirmed the Lorain County Prosecutor's former chief of staff placed Mitchell on that list last October. He says Mitchell provided 3 false statements to investigators when questioned about the incident. In one example, when Mitchell was asked why she didn't stop Ortiz's ex-girlfriend from kicking in the door, Mitchell claimed she was distracted because she was having a conversation with the ex's friend.
Lie.
But on Mitchell's body cam footage, it's clear she's the one who told the ex to enter the home.
You've lived here, so if you want to kick the door in and go and get your stuff, you're more than welcome to.
Because apparently they learned no civil liability in law enforcement training.
Mitchell was also questioned why she tased Ortiz after he told her he had a heart condition. In her report, she claimed he told her that at the same time she was tasing him.
Lie.
But video shows she actually tased him 5 seconds later.
That first tase that you heard, and then he says he has a heart condition, that was just her letting him know, I have a taser here. And then he says, I have a heart condition, and then she tases him.
Mitchell also told investigators she handled the incident according to the way she was trained, but the prosecutor's office found Mitchell was taught to stay out of civil cases and let the courts handle them.
Thank you.
We reached out to Officer Mitchell for comment, but we haven't heard back. Mike Mason, 19 News.
Thank you, Mike. Also, stop. When you hear back, you know what the comment to the comment's going to be, right? Yep, no comment. So, here is the suit. Defendant Paige Mitchell, Patrolman Cole T. Hirsch. I'm not going through all this. Patrolman, yada, yada, yada. May 6, 2024, district. And this is why it takes so long to move through the systems. Because you have the filing, July 3rd, 2024, the complaint, order, stipulations, waiver of service, that's all the crap was returned. Make your appearance. And then there's errors. And then when you have the filing error, then it's got to go back to the underlings, make its way up. Attorney appearance, then they go into court and say we need some more time. Then there's another error, it's got to go back. Case management, let's go to order. Attorney appearance again, the summons, supplemental complaint. So the complaint wasn't good enough, I had to go back for a supplemental complaint to get the complaint to the complaint figured out. Complaint where jury demand against all defendants. Then you got your filing fees, you got to go in and take care of all that. And then it finally makes its way through to the courts. They get a hold of it, and you get this. Elyria settles lawsuit brought by Raul Ortiz over 2023 arrest for $450,000 taxpayer dollars. Elyria, the city of Elyria has agreed to pay $450,000 to a man who was shot with a taser and charged with felonies after police improperly entered his home in May 2023 and arrested him following a physical altercation. Raul Ortiz and his mother, Deborah Fusick, sued the city and 3 of its police officers in the U.S. District Court in May 2024. They were seeking $2.5 million in damages, but settled the federal lawsuit for about 1/5 of the amount. Because what they probably told them was, you can take this to court. Here's the training. Here's that. Here's this. Here's the standards. You will win no money. So they settled. That's probably how that worked out. The lawsuit alleged civil rights violations, false arrest, imprisonment, excessive force, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and more over Ortiz and his mother's arrest on May 11, 2023. The city and Ortiz, who was represented by attorney Brett Murner, took the case to mediation instead of trial. Ortiz will get $445,000 out of settlement, and Fusik will get the remaining $5,000 according to the parties' agreement. The city paid $25,000, and the remaining $425,000 was paid by its insurance company. Safety Services Director Chris Pajonowski said in an email. People say, see, insurance paid it. They didn't pay it. Stop. Where do you think insurance companies get their money from? Police departments. Where do you think police departments get their money from? They don't sell cookies like Girl Scouts do. They don't have lemonade stands. They don't have food trucks. They get their money from the taxpayers. Well, they get grants from the government. Where do you think government gets their money from? Again, they don't sell cookies. They don't have lemonade stands. They're not out here on the street corner selling raffle tickets. They get it from the taxpayers. Murner said he received the city's checks on Wednesday and the case was resolved. The city was serious about setting the case. He said, I'd say we're all satisfied with the settlement, though nothing can make that day not have happened. This has proven a point that people don't need to be treated like this, Murner said. Hopefully some changes will happen at the Elyria Police Department. It won't. Elyria Mayor Kevin Brubaker said when it comes to settling the case, he believes in transparency and was glad it had been resolved. Bottom line is, this landed in our lap 5 months after we took office. It happened in 2023. We weren't aware this had taken place until the lawsuit was filed. He said, we dealt with it, we started an investigation, and we dealt with it appropriately. The dollar amount is a dollar amount, Brubaker said. We have to live with that, learn from our mistakes, and get better at what we do, really, because she was not fired. The settlement agreement, which was obtained by the Chronicle Telegram through a public record request, said that Ortiz and Fusik released all claims against Officers Paige Mitchell, Colty Hirsch, and Chris Lewis over the incident at Ortiz's home on Gavin Avenue. The incident The three Elyria officers met Ortiz's ex-girlfriend, Brittany Warner, at Ortiz's house the day of the arrest after she reported she wanted to get some of her personal property back. Now, typically when you go to court, the court will say you got 7 days, you got 15 days, you got 30 days. Usually if it's one person getting their stuff out, they'll give you 7 days. Cops should have known that. That was a civil case and should have stayed out of it. Accounts differ on what happened next. According to Ortiz's lawsuit, Warner told police she didn't live there anymore. While a police incident report said she was still a legal resident at the home, she said, I don't live here anymore. And they said, well, if you want to go get your shit, go kick the door in. They were wrong. According to body camera footage and the police report, Ortiz won't let officers and Warner inside. Mitchell then told Warner that as a legal resident, Warner was allowed to kick the door to get in. Warner told police she didn't live there anymore. She, by definition, not a legal resident. Any door can be kicked in depending on how hard you work on it, Mitchell said in a statement caught on body camera footage. Warner kicked the door in and the officers followed her inside, which the lawsuit alleged was illegal. It absolutely was. That was a warrantless entry. Ortiz demanded to know why they had barged in. A physical fight happened on the stairs and Mitchell shocked Ortiz with her taser, which he grabbed and threw on the ground, according to police and court documents. His mother was then arrested after she questioned why her son, who has a heart condition, was being tased. Ortiz was charged with aggravated battery, 3 counts of assault on a police officer, obstruction, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct, while Fusik was charged with obstruction of justice, a felony. All of the charges were later dismissed. Officer disciplined in August. The Elyria Police Chief, William Pelko, recommended that Mitchell be fired and Hirsch disciplined for their part in the incident based on an investigation by Captain Michael Grooms, who is now the city's acting police chief. Mitchell violated 10 department policies, including conduct unbecoming, conformance to laws, unsatisfactory performance, courtesy, truthfulness, field interview policy, pat-down searches, and 2 sections of department policy and arrest, search and seizure, and more, according to Palik's recommendation. Well, everything that she learned in the academy, almost all of it, she knew none of it. Mitchell joined the Elyria Police Department in 2015. At the time of Palik's termination recommendation, she was president of the Elyria Police Patrolmen's Association, the union representing the department's patrol officers. Hirsch was recommending a 30-day unpaid suspension for 2 violations of departmental arrest, search, and seizure policy, as well as for unsatisfactory performance. He was hired in 2021. Lewis, a rookie officer who had only recently joined Elyria Police and whom Mitchell was training in the field, was not disciplined. She was also forbidden from seeking promotion during the year. Pajanowski reduced Mitchell's discipline to 30 days without pay and 3 days with pay for Hirsch. Mitchell was ordered to serve 20 days of her suspension immediately, but 10 days stayed in the condition she remained on good behavior for 1 year. We gotta be on good. They're law enforcement. They're supposed to always be on good behavior. I was under the impression. She's also forbidden. Pelko, a 30-year veteran, Elyria police officer, and chief for 3 years until he retired January 31, was himself suspended without pay for 2 days in September. Well, that'll teach him. It won't. Pajanowski told the chief it was for a very concerning lack of response to potential officer misconduct in the incident involving Mitchell and Hirsch. Mitchell deemed Brady officer. After reviewing Groom's report on the incident, then prosecutor chief of staff Jim Burge wrote to Pelko on October 23, 2024. According to a copy of the letter obtained by the Chronicle through a public record request, Burge wrote that he had compared Mitchell's answers with questions and the facts in Groom's report and determined that she was untruthful in answering the questions put to her by Captain Grooms. Burge's standard was that a Brady event is any conduct by a police officer that results in a documented incident of police officer's dishonesty, he wrote. And we're going to go through this again, I guess. Brady refers to a Supreme Court decision, Maryland Brady in 63, justifies rural government can't hold. Justice ruled the government can't withhold evidence, and doing so violates a defendant's due process rights. They can be used to designate police officers whose testimony might be impeached by defense due to past misconduct. Therefore, I find Officer Paige Mitchell is a Brady officer. Officer Mitchell may appeal this determination by contacting me to schedule a hearing before the 3 attorneys in our major trial division. He wrote, developing and maintaining an accurate Brady list is crucial to the function of the prosecutor's office, Burge wrote. If we fail to notify the defense that a Brady officer will be testifying in one of the cases, failures is discovered, the case is finished, the defendant will be awarded a new trial. He cited 3 clearly documented instances when Officer Paige Mitchell provided answers to questions in department investigations that were clearly false, and that Officer Mitchell knew her answers were false at the time the answers were given. Mitchell on Thursday referred questions about her alleged Brady List inclusion to an attorney with the Ohio Patrolman Benevolent Association. A message seeking comment was left for her attorney. And then this one says Brady List doesn't exist. And although it was reported that Mitchell was placed on prosecutor officer Brady List, an officer whose truthfulness might be called into question in court by defense attorney, Celio said there is no such list. I have no compiled Brady list, he said. Well, they all should. There also don't appear to be any written policies or procedures in the prosecutor's office for what officers can't testify because of an alleged Brady violation. There is a policy and procedure. I haven't seen it. Now, a month into his tenure as prosecutor, CEO and his officer process of putting together such list. Really? It or individual names on it could be provided to defense attorneys ahead of trials to which the names of officers might testify. Well, it's supposed to already be in place. It's supposed to already be available, so you know who the liars are. Here we are. CEO said larger counties like Alphabet, Franklin, and Hamilton have such lists, while the Sandusky Register newspaper has reported that smaller counties, including Erie and Huron, have them as well. They also are sometimes called Giglio lists after a 1972 U.S. Supreme Court case. Well, maybe he should know that a Giglio list and a Brady list is the same thing and look up their Giglio list. The decision in Giglio, prosecutor required to share information, impeach a witness, credibility with defense attorneys, not doing is a violation of defendant's right to due process. The court ruled, absolutely. Celio said once he got into office a month ago, he pretty quickly realized the need for a list. It's total bullshit. They're lying and hiding and covering. A major felony criminal prosecutor in Lorain County and with the state's attorney general's office for more than 25 years, Celio said he could only remember a few Lorain County officers who wouldn't have put on the stand because of a history of lying in official documents or other misconduct. One is no longer a police officer and another is dead, he said. Well, it seems to me like there's some contact information. Seems to me like he knew that cops could lie, and he knew there was places those names went, and he just didn't seem to care. But yeah, that's where we're at, and that's where it wound up. $450,000 taxpayer dollars. So feel free to pick up another job because they're gonna need some more money, and if they get rid of them, they're gonna need to fill some more uniforms. So let me know what you think about this one. Also, 90% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. You are right there at your computer. You got your phone in your hand. The button's right there. Click it. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and I'm out.